Okay, good morning, everyone. It is now 9. I think we're going to get started. This is a reminder for everybody to mute their phones.
Please what?
Please mute your phone. Okay, so this is Kirsten Cowick. In the room with me, I have Reggie Godfrey and Kurt O'Rourke, who are also going to be presenting this morning as part of the WebEx. First of all, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to participate this morning. We appreciate you and your busy schedule. Also, for everybody's visibility, this WebEx is being recorded so that we can send it out and share it with folks after the meeting, and for those who cannot attend this morning. So to repeat, this is this morning. Okay, and can everybody see the screen okay? Okay, so the agenda is on the screen. It is the same agenda we sent out in the meeting appointment when we sent out the appointment. So you can see what we are going to cover today. Both the THIRA and the SPR process and the TEP process are designed to work together. The information from the THIRA and the SPR is meant to feed into the TEP. The gaps that you're identifying in your THIRA are the trainings and exercises that you want to include in your TEP submission and host in the upcoming years so that you close your gaps. As a reminder, and we'll cover this again in upcoming slides, the THIRA and SPR apply to our state agency partners and our regional task force partners. At this time, it does not apply to the county. So we'll be talking about the THIRA stuff, but from a county perspective, those things won't apply to you. Both the THIRA and SPR and the TEP capture similar information, gaps in your training and exercise, and those are by core and mission area. The SPR, or Stakeholder Preparedness Review, also collects gap information for planning, organization, and equipment by core capability and mission area. Combining these processes allows for the TEP to be completed and distributed to our stakeholders guys before 2020. As the plan is going to be for 2020 to 2023, a 3-year plan, allows everyone to hit the ground running in January and not have to wait until mid-2020 to finish the TEP process or to see the completed TEP. It also eliminates the need to travel and attend multiple meetings here in Harrisburg. We heard you, we know your time and your funds are valuable, and we all have meeting fatigue. So if we can incorporate these processes together and free up some time to work on other initiatives, everyone is happier, myself included. So as I mentioned, the SPR process applies to regional task force state agency partners. Think of the THIRA and the SPR as our report card on preparedness. This evaluates where our gaps are, where we are doing well, where we need to focus our efforts on. As a reminder, please mute your phone. It's a good assessment so that we know where to focus our efforts to be better able to respond to the threats that face the Commonwealth. This process currently includes state agency partners and regional task forces. This process is required in order to maintain our preparedness grant funding eligibility on things like the EMPG and the Homeland Security Grant Program. This information that we are asking you guys to compile, as you've seen in the emails, if you're a state agency partner or a task force partner, is due back to us at PEMA no later than October 31st of this year. The UASC task forces, so Southeast and Southwest, are required to submit their own THIRA and SPR because they receive the UASC funding, and so they have a little bit of Sorry, trying to figure out who.
Man, that thing is loud. That's a vacuum.
One more time, can everybody on the line please mute your phones? Little microphone button.
How about you mute everybody from WebEx?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
You're gonna be there. Yeah. You can't hear me, right?
no, we can hear you absolutely.
Hear you.
Sorry about that.
You can
Okay.
mute all participants through the WebEx app as well.
Right, but then we won't have two-way communications.
I just muted him, so, okay. Getting back on track. As I mentioned, the UASI task forces, because they are required to submit their own THIRA and SPR, have until November to get us the information, and we've communicated that to them. All training and exercise calendars for the task forces and the state agency partners are also asked to be turned in with your SPR workbook by October 31st, 2019, or they may not be included in that TEP document. Stakeholder workbooks were sent out to the regional task force and state agency partners over the last 2 weeks. So you guys should have received them. If you are a state agency partner or a task force that's on the call and you have not received them yet, please reach out to me after the WebEx. These workbooks have all 32 core capabilities, as we are required to report on all 32 of them this year. You can see them up on the screen. As partners and task forces, we are only asking you to fill out the core capabilities that pertain to your agency or task force. So, if your agency or task force only deals with 2 or 3 capabilities, that is all you have to focus on completing. If your task force focuses only on those response core capabilities, then you can feel free to focus on those and pass over the prevent, protect, recovery, and mitigation core capabilities. However, task force partners, this is a reminder that what you put in these workbooks serves as the basis for your HSGP applications for next year. So you'll want to ensure that you're covering any of the core capabilities or potential gaps or sustainment needs that you're going to look to include in your HSGP application next year, so that you can reference that and cover that. These workbooks have the core capabilities linked to the pages in the workbook so that you can click specifically on the core capability you're looking to complete, and it will take you to the correct page in the workbook. And that's the links that you're seeing on the screen. Specifically, we are asking state agency and regional task force partners to focus on how you've built, lost, and sustained capabilities in any given core capability over the last year. How mutual aid has helped you build and sustain your capability over the last year, and which POETI element, and that stands for planning, organization, equipment, training, and exercise. So which POETI element area that you have gaps in, and how you plan on closing that gap or sustaining your efforts. Along with this, and Reggie is going to speak more to it when he presents, we are asking each task force and state agency to provide us a calendar of their anticipated training and exercises for the upcoming year, 2020, and beyond, if that information is already known, so that it can be incorporated into the training and exercise plan. As Reggie will speak to, this process is going to replace the training and exercise workshop that typically happens at the beginning or at the end of the year. So in the spirit of transparency, the next steps with this process will be as follows. Following the October 31st deadline for the workbooks and the training and exercise calendars, the SPR data will be compiled into a comprehensive statewide report, as we have done the last 2 years. This encompasses both state agency and regional task force responses. Task forces can refer to this document for their grant applications, as you may have done in the past, and all stakeholders can use it for planning, training, exercise, and collaborative efforts moving forward. The Training and Exercise Division will be extrapolating the specific training and exercise information out of your responses for incorporation into the training and exercise plan. Submission to FEMA for the THIRA and SPR is due December 31st, as it is every year. So that is the high-level overview for the THIRA and SPR process. Again, state agency partners and task forces have already received emails with the workbook. If you have not, my email is up on the screen. You can email me after the WebEx, and I can make sure that you get that if you're typically involved in the THIRA process. Does anybody have any questions or concerns from a task force or state agency partner perspective on what I just talked about in the last few slides?
Kristen, just to confirm, the workbook that you're speaking of is the document that is entitled 2019 Core Capability Sheet Questionnaire?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you think of questions after the fact, you can send either Cody or myself an email, with your question, or you can call us. We're around to help. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to move on and let Reggie talk about the TEP. Okay.
And good morning, everybody. A quick overview of the TEP. The purpose of the training and exercise plan is to document your organization's overall training and exercise priorities for a specific multi-year time period. It's considered to be a living document that can be updated and refined annually. Just because you can update it, though, you do not have to. So the purpose of doing a TEP every year for a multi-year time frame just is redundant, in my opinion. These priorities are linked to corresponding core capabilities, strategic guidance, threat assessments, and corrective actions from previous exercises or real-world events. The multi-year TEP identifies training and exercises that will help your organization build and sustain core capabilities needed to address its training and exercise program priorities. The multi-year TEP should lay out a combination of progressively building exercises along with associated training requirements, which address the agency's priority. A progressive multi-year exercise program enables organizations to participate in a series of increasingly complex exercises with each successive exercise building upon the previous one until mastery is achieved. By including training requirements in the planning process, your organization can address known shortfalls prior to exercising your capabilities. A multi-year TEP may also serve as a follow-on companion document to Homeland Security Strategy and can provide a roadmap to follow and accomplish the priorities described. Included in the multi-year TEP training and exercise schedule. So that's the calendar aspect that we're talking about. We're going to have a statewide calendar so that we don't double book exercises and training in the same area, so we get more bang for our dollar. Your organization's priorities from the State Urban Homeland Security Strategy, Threat and Hazard Identification and Risk Assessments, Capability Assessments, and Past After Action Reports and Improvement Plans inform the development of the priorities. Identify specific priorities for the time period allotted in your multi-year TEP. Again, it is a living document, the calendar as well, so it can be updated at any time. But just because we hold TEPWs every year does not mean you have to update your plan every year. If your priorities stay the same, then your TEP should be relevant until the end of the time frame. So like Kirsten said, the task forces and state agencies already have the workbooks, so they are covered. For counties that are that don't participate in the SPR and THIRA, I am tweaking the workbooks that I was shared with, and they'll be focused more on training and exercise gaps for all the counties, and they will be out sometime next week. Again, for the deadline, it's going to be tied into the SPR and THIRA, so we're looking to get everything back by October 31st, so we can have the TEP signed, sealed, and delivered by December. For this year, we're going to do 2 TEPs, one for state agencies, counties, and task forces, focused on regions, so Western, Central, and Eastern. And then we're also going to have an internal PEMA, CRCC-related TEP training and exercise plan. Are there any questions about the TEP portion? And again, if you have any questions that you think of after the presentation here, please feel free to email me. My contact information is up on the screen. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kurt O'Rourke. I'm the process manager for the course instruction request under HSGP within the training and exercise division. This slide really just covers a heads up and way forward for everybody on the CIR. You all in the field and we have identified some shortfalls and complications on the form. The goal is to simply make this form easier, more intuitive, and user-friendly. We will automate this form. It will be web-based, and there will be somewhat of a transparent separation between a request for training, a course, or a request for reimbursement for travel, meals, etc. That should be somewhat invisible on the user end. Again, minimal effect on the product and the customer. Another thing that the field has already sort of been subject to is we are going to continue to try to enforce the standards of the CIR, the 90-day submission. We understand the constraints that you work under. There will be exceptions for that, but use of the correct form and use of the timelines will be paid more attention to going forward. The timeline for us to field the new CIR form hopefully will be by year end. You may see some of the task force requested to be used for beta testing prior to that time, where we will, in a sort of closed setting, field the form to you and work out any issues, problems before we do a final fielding of the form. Again, no solid set timeline right now, but hopefully by year's end. Any questions for me? Thank you.
And it's Reg Godfrey again. I just wanted to give a heads up on an upcoming course that we're going to provide here throughout Pennsylvania. It's RTIPP. It's the Readiness, Training, Identification, and Preparedness Planning. The purpose of this course is to teach participants how to create effective training plans for their agencies, jurisdictions, using an approach that includes whole community. The RTIPP process stems from the National Preparedness System guidelines, and each of the module of training is based upon a component of the NPS. The purpose is to implement a training planning process in their community using a 7-step approach. First, participants will build an assessment team with representatives from the whole community. The whole community assessment team will examine and enhance the jurisdictional profile, and identify and assess risks for their particular community. Next, the team should estimate the capability requirements and establish target skill levels for capabilities most applicable to your community. And then finally, the assessment team can analyze your current set of capabilities and identify where your capability training does not meet the skill level needed. This is just a better way moving forward to do the TEP process for us. We are gonna have courses of this next year in each of the areas. We are coordinating with the area offices to find the best locations for each course. And more information on that will be coming out. I know that LSU has been to one of the eastern areas, IST, and they'll be going to western and centrals as well, just to get more information and answer any questions that we have for that. Like I said, I just wanted to give you a heads up on the RTIPP process that we're going to be moving forward to with our next TEP process. Any questions on that? Thank you.
Okay, so that concludes the WebEx today. 20 minutes, done. Trying not to waste anybody's time here. If you have any questions, we will open up the line for questions now, or you can email us or call us with any questions that you have. I would also like your feedback on how you felt the process went today, and if you would like to see us continue this in the future. Our attempt is, we're trying to streamline processes and minimize travel, as we mentioned earlier, and make things easier on it. So I will open up the line for questions, but otherwise, thank you for your participation. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is Cubby from Bedford. I think this process was really good because it was helpful to me. Not sure that I really got it. But it was very helpful. Will this be repeated at all other than just seeing a slide deck?
So I recorded the whole slide WebEx today, and we are going to be sharing that after the WebEx is over. We could not make this. So I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to get it up in Train. That's our intent, and to put it in Train PA. If not, we will send it out following this WebEx.
What was the last, if not, people were canceling, so I missed the last sentence.
Sure, yeah, I said our intent is to put the recording up into Train PA, but if we are not able to do that, then we will send it out to everybody through email following the web.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate any help that you can give us. So
yeah,
thank you very much for your time as well. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin. Does anybody else have any questions?
Kirsten, it's Alan.
Hi, Alan.
Hey, Cubby beat me to it, but great job this year on combining the two processes, and yeah, it looks like a good way of moving forward. So kudos to PEMA, the whole team, area offices, and headquarters. Thanks.
Thanks, Alan. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to end the WebEx. Thanks again for your time. I appreciate it.